Yo, 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 welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passions, and hustles. My name's Chris Furlong, I am your host, and I'm super thrilled to be back here once again for another episode. And we're on episode 45, and if you haven't caught up on episode 44, which was to kickstart 2022, I do encourage you, go jump over, have a listen to that, because hopefully that will give you some extra push, some motivation to make 2022 your best year yet. Otherwise, let's just dive straight into it. Because I'm super excited to be able to have this conversation with you because I'm just excited. Let's get into it. Okay, so over the past year, I've been doing a lot of reading, and one of the goals I had last year was to read 12 books. I managed to actually finish reading 13 books. Actually, when I talk about reading, I like to listen. I listen to my books when running, and out of those 13 books, all these books were amazing, and all of them will be in the show notes below. However, I wanted to pick out 5 which I think are a must for anyone to listen to, whether you're starting a business, whether you're trying to do some self-development and become a better version of yourself, or maybe you're just interested in leveling up. I think these books will really bring some fresh perspective and really encourage you to think outside of the box as well with whatever it is that you're doing or working on. So I really wanted you to hear this from me because I think they will enable you to grow, and at the end of the day, I think we're always trying to grow some way or another. And if you don't like reading, well, then I would recommend go listening via Audible, or, there's multiple ways that you can consume this kind of content, or maybe even some of the smaller summary versions of these books. But I'm not here to tell you all about the book. I'm here to just tell you a high level what I took away from it and why I think it's going to be a good book for you. So let's jump into the top 5 books I think you should read in 2022. Oh yeah, and make sure you grab some pen and paper if you are sitting at home doing nothing. Of course, if you're driving and whatnot, or if you're running, you can't. But, you can come back to this and take some notes or refer back to it later. Let's get into it. Book number 1, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Now, coming fresh from episode 44, if you have listened to this just recently, you'll know that was all about trying to make progress and making 2022 your best year yet. And with that in mind, Atomic Habits is all about that. It's about making progress. It's about if you want to make progress and how it starts with habits and making small progress over a long period of time. There's a very famous quote or saying from this book that James dives into, which talks about 1% every day over 365 days is basically 1.38 at the end of the year, which is 3,800% or 3,800% better. And this book is that guide on making this happen. It's a detailed book. It goes through a lot of structures and systems and things that you can do to make this happen, but it's simple enough that anyone can do it, and you can probably take components of it and make it your own as well. Of course, if you follow the book, you're more likely to get to the result that he's expecting or explaining that you can achieve. But I think if you want to understand what an atomic habit is, it's a regular practice or routine that is not only small and easy to do, but it's also a source of, incredible power. This is how he's defined it, and a component of a system of compound growth. Now, if you know anything about compounding, that's where the money's at, because when we talk about compounding, usually we talk about when you're saving, when you're investing, that after a long period of time, things start to just grow exponentially. And that's what he's trying to help you achieve here with Atomic Habits. The other things he talks about is bad habits and how they repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. And these are built into our, the way we've always been working or the way we've always been doing things. And it's about trying to break them and change that system. And then changes, when we think about changes, what originally starts small and seems small and unimportant at the start will eventually compound into remarkable results. And if you're willing to stick with them for a long period of time, I'm not talking days, I'm talking potentially years, then it will give you some big dividends and some big life-changing results. And it goes through and covers across 5 different big ideas and how this works. But I would highly recommend going to have a listen to this one if you're just trying to, wanting to change some things that you want in your life and trying to implement this on a very easy but daily level. This is the book for you. So Atomic Habits by James Clear. Book number 2, and this might actually be probably my favorite book for the year. These are in no particular order, by the way, but book number 2 that has stood out for me is The Common Path to Uncommon Success by John Lee Dumas. Now, he's a podcaster himself, amazing guy. He is just absolutely on fire, doing crazy things, and he's also getting into the NFT space. But this is an amazing book, and once again, I listen to all these, and there's usually different things that you can get from doing this in a physical book, like there's some actions or some things that you can fill out and whatnot. But literally, this is a guide to help you follow a path of success you find yourself always wanting, wishing, or pursuing. You know, when you're looking via Instagram or online and you're seeing these highlight reels and you think, oh yeah, that's all a highlight reel. But then there's these people that just seem to just have it all together and know what they're doing. I'm talking about the big greats, the ones that have always inspired us. This is how to get to that point. It's literally a roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment. And it basically goes through 17 steps on how you can do this and make it happen. And what I love about this book is, though it's not necessarily just an easy process, you know, it goes through and tells you that, you know, you're going to have to do this, you're going to have to put in the hard work. It's just so practical, and he puts it out in such a simple, direct, and just, it's basically just, it's just laid it out there ready to be taken. And I'm surprised that, I guess at the end of the day, when you read this book, if you're not following the steps in this book, it's probably because you don't have the motivation or the drive to follow the steps, because it's a lot of hard work. And, you know, I'll be the first to say there's areas of this book that I've taken, but I haven't done the others, and I need to do more of it, because it's just sitting there ready to help you become what you want to be. And most of the time it comes down to financial freedom and fulfillment, because with financial freedom, you can do a lot of different things that you want to do. So I would highly encourage you that if you, especially if you're starting a business or wanting to start a business, or you're wanting to escape the 9 to 5, this book will level you up to that level to enable you to make that happen. Book number 3, 12 Rules of Life by Jordan Peterson. Now this one, I think it's a book to bring perspective. It's a very, very deep book. It's a lot to digest, and they're deep conversations. I guess he brings together a whole bunch, actually 12, perspectives to help you open your eyes and understand things better, or with a new perspective than before. So it helps give you clarity and understanding. And I guess really the intent is to help broaden your horizon and understanding and perspective, to enable you then to make different decisions and to avoid having chaos in your life. That's really what it's about, is these 12 rules of life to avoid chaos. So I guess, you know, it brings together all areas of life as we know it, and he goes into detail of each, and he goes through stories, he goes through different parallels and how they play out. It's very deep, and I know I'm probably sounding a bit wishy-washy of like, Chris, what is this book? But it's like he takes all these themes and areas and topics, the 12 rules, and the things that we think we know about life, and he splashes them against a white canvas to bring out the color, the deeper meaning, and the context in which maybe we had never known or seen them before. That's really the way I could explain it. It's like sometimes you see someone draw something, and then you're thinking, what is this? And then all of a sudden they turn it upside down, and it's like this beautiful picture of a portrait or something like that. That's what this book does, but for life, and 12 rules to make sure you're avoiding chaos in your life. So very, very deep book, very, very good book. Great listen, I enjoyed it, but it is deep and very philosophical. So I would encourage you to have a listen to it, because it will open your eyes and you will see some things differently. Book number 4, which is Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. And you know, I didn't realize this before listening to this book, that, you know, yes, I mean, we know him for his acting, and he's an amazing actor, but he's done a lot of things outside of acting, and probably a lot of things that you didn't realize. And this book really is his biography, but it's more than that. It's a big story, and he loves to do great stories. He's such an amazing storyteller. But in this book, really, what he wants to do, and he wants to lay out for you in, I guess, the perspective of telling his life story, up to the time of, I think he's around 50 now. It's about how to line up your ducks, and how to, you know, hit those green lights in a row, how to avoid the red lights, and how to manage the yellows. You know, using a lot of parallels and, you know, reflecting upon what we would know, you know, red light, green light, and yellow lights as, you know, when you're driving. But basically leveraging his biography with stories, takeaways, and bumper stickers. Yeah, he brings in these little things called bumper stickers, where he gives you these words of advice and how to, you know, think outside of the box or think about something differently. And he's very witty, and he brings a lot of poetry into it as well. But I think at the end of it, he really just wants you to be ready and willing to take more risks in life. And that's what the book is about. And it's really inspiring seeing how, I guess, how unafraid he was to take risks and to go on wild adventures in his life. And I think it's a great way to start the year as well. With this book is probably a great way to motivate you and encourage you to try new things this year, and to be willing to get flexible and be willing to go on a ride, go on an adventure. So I highly recommend this book as well. Now, the final one, and as I said at the start of this, I did read 13 books, but these 5 have been probably the biggest impact to me, and the others are just as powerful. But number 5 was 12 and a Half by Gary Vee. And I've actually got it right here in front of me. This was actually gifted to me by Ethan Rushock. I ended up listening to it and not actually reading this version, but it's great to be able to have this because it's a reminder of everything. Anyway, this book, 12 and a Half, leveraging the emotional ingredients necessary for business success. And the way I look at this is essentially whether you have a business, whether you're planning to start a business, or maybe you just want to win better at life. I guess Gary Vee's 12 and a Half book brings you these 12 emotional ingredients, as I said, but with guide, tips, and tricks to leverage them and how they are key to the success in business, but also life in general. So he leverages his own experience, and he's an amazing man. He's done amazing things, and he's very candid. Like, he just gets straight to the point, and that's what I love. There's no BS. He just gets straight to it, and he helps you just understand it. And leveraging his own experience, he also goes through a series of scenarios of these emotional ingredients, of these 12 and a Half, and how he would leverage these emotional, I guess, traits or emotional tools or different types of emotions in these scenarios in order to get out of that situation or to manage that situation or to do better in that situation. And this is across business, life, and just situations. But essentially, this book will set you up for success. It is literally a practical guide for the emotional roller coasters we have when dealing with people. Because people bring out our emotions, and this is a great way to leverage them to enable you to move forwards, upwards, and onwards. It's a very encouraging book, and Gary's doing some amazing things right now. I would highly encourage you to go check out his content. So that's 5 books for you to go read this year, to listen to this year. They have been amazing books, and I want to listen and read more books this year for myself because there's so much, I guess, opportunity to learn and understand from these different perspectives and insights from these amazing authors, whether they're, experienced business people, or maybe they've just gone through a long life career, or maybe they've just gone on an adventure that we haven't. But these people are basically giving you breadcrumbs or, I guess, tips and tricks to success. Success leaves clues, right? And you can follow these clues and get the same results. It's always great to reflect on what these people are doing that have gotten to this position and see how they got there. And a lot of these books help you understand that. So you've got some homework to do. But if you've got some books that you think I should be listening to, or other people should be listening to, or reading, or consuming, or however you like to do it, let me know in the comments. Reach out. You can send me a tweet over at Further Your Life, or you can drop me a DM on Instagram at Further Your Lifestyle, or you can drop me an email at hello@furtheryourlifestyle.com. Either way, get in contact. You can also leave a comment on the YouTube experience. It would be great. And if you think there's something here for someone else, if you think one of these books or all these books is going to be relevant for someone else, send this episode to them. Get them to have a listen. Get them to understand why these books are probably going to be best. You could even gift them one of these books. I would love to be able to give out more and more books, and there'll be more on that kind of stuff happening this year across my podcast, or across the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, but also across my own personal challenge and life and things that I'm doing. If you want to follow that journey, that's CL Furlong. But it's all about understanding and taking in this information, because the more you can learn, the more you can get inside you to help you understand and get better perspective. It's going to help you make better decisions and learn quicker, because there's nothing wrong with obviously going through mistakes yourself and learning and having to go through that process. But if you can learn of what other people's mistakes were and you can then avoid them, well, it's going to put you ahead. And these books help you get those answers a lot quicker than going through them yourself. Really do appreciate you being here. It's been, once again, super great to be able to have this conversation with you. I'm super motivated for this year, and it'll be interesting to see how long this excitement lasts for the year. But I think you got to really spur on each other and just go in with the attitude of you want to get things done. And it's not about necessarily New Year's and things like that. It's about just new days as well. So appreciate you being here. If you like this, do all the great things and do support, share, give some love. And if you want to chat, continue the conversation, you can reach out as I had mentioned before. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day. Cheers. Now, if you didn't know, we do have the podcast merch, and this is with a key focus of enamel pins. Now, if you haven't checked these out, make sure you do, because the intent of these are really just to be a small token and a reminder for you to charge on, to push on, and to further your lifestyle. Whether it is a gift for someone else to encourage them, or maybe to inspire them, or maybe it's a way to motivate yourself, or you can simply just make a purchase to simply support the podcast, which would be greatly appreciated. We do also have some sweaters and some long tees, so make sure you check it out. Link in the description and in the show notes. Really do appreciate it. Cheers.